The feisty Ducks salvage an LA split. With defense, rebounding, and some clutch three-point shooting, Oregon is back above the 500 mark. Even without their big man, the Beavers never say die at Pauley, but the Bruins pick up lucky 13 against Oregon State. In Seattle, what three-game losing streak? The Dogs looked re-energized and avenged the loss from earlier in the season. In Pullman, the Cougars needed a win to stay in the thick of things in the middle of the pack, and it went down to the wire with the Bears. At Matt Night, another episode for the Oregon women looked so much like previous editions, and the Beaver women once again just didn't have the horses to keep up with powerful UCLA. The final month of the season is here. Time for the stretch run, and it's time for this edition of Inside the Pack.
This Oregon team.
Since we've been doing this. Oh, look at that, right along the baseline. Tyrone Nared, beautiful pass from Lloyd.
Tyrone Nared and the Ducks slam USC in the second half and go to 13-12 on the year, and now sit in a three-way tie for fifth in the conference. Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside the Pack. Tom Ward here with you for the next 30 minutes. And as usual, I am joined by Nick Krupke, just back from LA. Nick, Oregon's victory over the Trojans on Saturday night. Very typical of what we've seen Dana Altman's squad do here in the last few weeks. They just simply outworked USC, beat them by 2 on the boards, and had 2 more steals.
You know, you always aim for that sweep. You like a split on the road, as certainly do. And you played against USC team that only had 7 guys available to play. That pressure D really wore them out. Certainly saw that later on in the second half when Oregon started building a double-digit lead. That first half, though, at some points in time was tough to watch. Only 9 made buckets for the Ducks. 4 of those were threes.
Offensively challenged.
Yeah, somehow, though, they're in the lead by 6 because USC couldn't hit either. I mean, they had Vucevic. He was going all night long, but beyond that, they had nobody else. And now you talked about it, tied for 5th. Last week we talked about a good goal would be to maybe bypass the first day of that Pac-10 tournament. They're on the road to do that. I think if you can pick up 3 of the next 5 games, win those, which is a good chance to do that, sitting pretty.
Now there is the school of thought also that should you get into that first day of the Pac-10 tournament, you end up playing, a 7 versus a 10, probably most likely. You get an extra chance to get an extra win.
Sure enough.
Strengthen the schedule for maybe a shot at a NIT or a CBI berth.
Yeah. Again, I mean, if they can close it out on the stretch, I mean, it seems so far-fetched from where we started this season. We thought, man, are they going to win a game or 2 in the Pac-10?
Right.
To where now we are realistically looking at might be a postseason tournament somewhere out there for Oregon.
And then Oregon State almost seemed like a replay of some games we've seen this season from them. 1 for 11 on Thursday night from the 3, 4 of 14 from the 3 against UCLA on Saturday.
And the big thing is, those slow starts. Seems like every week we talk about the same thing. They don't score for an 8-minute stretch against SC on Thursday. Then on Saturday they open up just 2 field goals in the first 6 minutes. Then don't score for 6 minutes. You're down by 18. You play catch up before the half, but just being down by 18 to a far superior team at UCLA is really, really clicking right now. Can't come out of that.
Yeah, and without Joe Burton, one thing that was really surprising, Oregon State outscored UCLA in the paint. So, yeah, they didn't have Joe Burton, but it was really the inability to convert from the outside that sort of hurt them in this game and now left them with another loss. But let's get things moving here. And with a win over USC on Saturday, Oregon could erase the memory of Thursday's second-half swoon at Pauley Pavilion and, more importantly, grab a share of 5th place in the Pac-10 to the Galen Center. And Oregon came in riding a 3-game win streak against Kevin O'Neill's Trojans. First half was rough to watch from an offensive perspective, but Garrett Sim drives, then feeds Jovan Catron in the corner. The 3-ball is money, make it Oregon by 3. Later, Malcolm Armstead finds E.J. Singler in about the same spot as Catron. He too hits the 3. Oregon up 22-17. Then right before the break, J.R. Strobridge, deep 3. Ducks with just 9 first-half field goals, but 4 of them were threes. Oregon led 25-19 at the break. The Ducks picked up the pace in the second half. Jonathan Lloyd misses, but Singler is there not once but twice for the putback. Ducks up 9. Then Singler drills a big 3 in the corner. 11 for EJ, 47-35 Oregon. 9.5 minutes to go. Then the highlight of the night. Lloyd, the backdoor lob to Tyrone Nared. Monster jam. Oregon up by 13, looking like they're going to put it away. Nared can go inside and he can go outside as well. Stops and pops for 3 from the top of the arc. Tyrone had 7 points. Oregon finished 9 of 21 from deep, and Malcolm's late three helps put it away. And the Ducks get a crucial weekend split in LA, 61-51, their 5th win in the last 7 games. Armstead led the way with 14 of the Ducks' 23 points off the bench.
Singler with 11. USC just 3 of 19 from literally downtown LA. The Ducks now home for their next 3 before closing out the league schedule in Arizona. After the game, Coach Altman very quick to praise his 2 seniors, Catron and Strobridge, in getting the team ready for a bounce-back win there at SC. And part of that senior leadership is bringing along the young guys, and they're doing their part as well. Jonathan Lloyd got the start in the backcourt again, and after a rather dull first half, he came out and provided a big boost to open up the second. No fear driving into the big trees in the lane there, then stepping back on a 3. Oregon up 11. That's the only 5 points of the night for Johnny, but he had a lot of big plays too. 5 boards, 2 steals. This big-time tie-up with Nicola. Jump ball, possession arrow for Oregon, and that's when they really had all the momentum going. And you look at that bench play, outscoring SC 24-13. Even though the Trojans only had 7 guys who could play, so 2 on the bench, they were gassed. Malcolm Armstead continued to just kind of beat them off the dribble in that second half really late. He had 14, 2 swipes, 5 assists, and that guard play along with Strobridge and Sim, very big. And for this season, if it's all about building for the future and maybe picking up some wins along the way, the Ducks are nailing that one right on the head, to where this season's really kind of come out of nowhere. Now a nice chance to come home, take care of home, head to Arizona, then shoot down to that Pac-10 tournament.
Well, certainly in the Pac-10, you try to get the road split, take care of business at home. Now, Oregon gave Arizona State its lone conference victory, but the Ducks were not playing nearly as well early in the year at that point. So it is realistic that they could maybe take care of business at home against Cal and Stanford, then go to Arizona, maybe sweep the Civil War series, and really set themselves up for maybe to do some surprise damage in the Pac-10 tournament.
And they have so many options. I mean, it's a lot of guys. We still don't say they don't have a go-to guy. Catron has been so big for what they can do. But you look at Strobridge, you look at Singler, you look at all the guys, Malcolm, depends on the night. Who else? You're always going to get 3 guys in double figures, 8 points, 9 points, maybe 2. A nice collection of talent that's really kind of come together for him.
Certainly is, and Dana Altman now has got to be pleased with where his team is at as their first season has. They've really experienced some growth here and are looking like maybe they have a little more room at the top for some improvement. Well, Craig Robinson's Beavers have been struggling to do the little things as of late. Thursday against USC, the Beavers went 1 of 11 from the three-point line and had 19 turnovers. To Pauley Pavilion, and the place where John Wooden used to sit, has been roped off this year in honor of the late, great Wizard of Westwood. And it wasn't this dog, but the Beavers' Joe Burton, who was in Robinson's doghouse prior to the game. Now, Burton spoke to members of his Native American reservation who came to watch, but Burton did not play, suspended for the game for a violation of team rules. Once again, the Beavers fell behind early. Josh Smith steals, gets it ahead to Tyler Honeycutt. Alley-oop jam to Reeves Nelson beat Bruins up by 6. Later, Devon Collier knocks the ball loose, hustles down the floor and flips it in, takes the foul as well. Beavs within 2, but that was the Beavers' last field goal for 6 minutes. Josh Smith then gets inside, drops the hammer on the dunk and one. Smith with 15. O-State trailed 24-6. Beavers then go on a 13-2 run. Jared Cunningham with the steal and slam. Despite shooting 27% in the first half, OSU down just 5, 29-24 at the half. Second half, Malcolm Lee with the shot fake, baseline drive, and two-hand cram. 38-29 Bruins, then more from Smith, another strong bucket and the foul. Bruins on top 51-34 with 8 minutes to go, and the Beaver defense forced 26 turnovers, 11 steals, 5 of them by Cunningham, and he is fouled, but the Beavers shot less than 33%, and they drop another one in Westwood, 69-61 the final, so it's a season sweep for the Bruins over the Beavers. Their 13th straight in the series. That's the longest active streak for any Pac-10 rivalry. Oregon State now 0-6 on the road in conference this season.
Another nice game, though, for Collier, 10.7 rebounds. Cunningham, relentless again on the defensive end, 5 of their 11 steals, but that stat was wiped out basically by 16 block shots by UCLA. The Bruins have won 5 in a row, 9 of their last 10. On the flip side, the Beavers have dropped 9 of 11. They thought they maybe had it figured out last week in that win over Washington, and the open of the game at USC Thursday wasn't that bad. But the season-long bugaboo for Oregon State, the slow start, buried them again out of the gates at Pauley Pavilion. The Beavers again had just 2 field goals the first 6 minutes, then went another 6 before scoring again. By then, they were down by 18 with 8 minutes to go in the half. The Bruins defense played well, but the Beavers did it to themselves as well. Omari Johnson fumbles in the fast break. The fast break, they just haven't been able to convert this year. And then in the second, Calvin Haynes can't handle the ball on the perimeter. Coach just fuming at that point. The Beavers had 10 less turnovers than UCLA, but couldn't find a way. Again, Omari on the break, couldn't quite handle it. Fumbles it out of bounds. And if it wasn't missed shots, tossing them out of rhythm, shooting less than 33%, it was those 16 blocked shots, 8 of them by Tyler Honeycutt. You look at a stat line, you say 11 steals for a team, 26 points off 26 Bruin turnovers, just 1 less rebound against a team that has some big guys like Nelson and Smith. You'd think they would shape up very well. But the Beavers, again, just their bad shooting, and outside of Collier and Cunningham, nobody else got going.
Well, Burton suspended for this game. Haynes and Nelson scoreless in the first half. Lathan Wallace quickly got into foul trouble, scoreless in 17 minutes. I mean, the list goes on. Amari Johnson, 2 points in 25 minutes. Amari Johnson had a decent game on Thursday night, but in this game, kind of disappeared. You
remember 2 weeks ago when they were going through this skid, which they're still going on, Amari told us down in the Bay Area, it's about us seniors pulling this team together and leading the way, where you know, Dan Altman says, hey, credit to us seniors in Strobridge and Catron for getting us right. Where's the Oregon State seniors right now to say, hey, let's pull the things together here for all the young guys? I mean, they're starting all 5 guys, freshmen and sophomore. The seniors coming off the bench, and they're not really giving it.
Right. Well, this is where we're seeing the transition from the Jay John era into the Craig Robinson era, and the guys that Craig has brought in. And it's just tough. You mentioned the Bay Area trip. Funny you mentioned that, because that, to me, yesterday looked like the Stanford game where they had all those opportunities. They just couldn't finish. It was a little bit different. They turned the ball over before they could get there. But at the same time, at high-level Division I basketball, you got to have guys who can finish in order to win.
No question.
Well, by picking up another road split, the Ducks continue to hang around in the middle of the pack and are on the bottom edge of the upper division. Still to come on Inside the Pack. More from the Galen Center, as Oregon is sitting in a good spot now as the stretch run of the conference season approaches.
2 would have felt real good, but 1-1, we split it. We'll take it still and get ready for the next 3 back at home at Matt Knight Arena.
Plus, the Oregon women hung around before the Trojans turned out the lights. Pac-10 women's action is straight ahead. And as always, lots more Beavers, Ducks, and the rest of the Pac-10 online all the time at our website, InsideThePac.com. We'll be back after this.